It was a crisp autumn morning in downtown Chicago, the kind where the wind off Lake Michigan bites just enough to remind you that winter's on the way. The leaves were turning shades of orange and red along the magnificent mile, and the air smelled like coffee from the street vendors and exhaust from the morning rush. I pulled my beat-up Ford F-150 pickup into the underground parking garage of the Apex Financial Services Tower, a gleaming 50-story behemoth of glass and steel that dominated the Loop skyline. At 52 years old, with a touch of salt in my pepper hair and a back that still remembered my days in the Marines, I'd been in the auditing business for over 2 decades. But this assignment was a far cry from the usual desk jockey routine. I wasn't walking in with a leather briefcase, a crisp suit, and a team of analysts. No, I was dressed in faded blue coveralls, a worn Chicago Cubs baseball cap pulled low over my eyes, and I had a mop bucket and cleaning supplies in the bed of my truck. My name is Tom Reynolds, and for the next few weeks, I was going undercover as Tommy the Janitor to audit Apex from the inside out. The gig came straight from the Securities and Exchange Commission. There had been anonymous tips about irregularities at Apex, insider trading, inflated earnings reports, and a CEO who played fast and loose with the rules. My firm, Reynolds & Associates, was one of the top forensic auditing outfits in the Midwest, specializing in uncovering corporate fraud that the big accounting firms missed or ignored. We'd worked with the SEC before, but this time they wanted discretion. Get in, get the evidence, get out without raising alarms, my contact had said. Posing at a janitor was my brainchild. I'd done it on smaller scales in the past, a warehouse in Detroit, a bank in Milwaukee. It worked because people in power never notice the help. They talk freely, toss sensitive documents, and reveal their true colors when they think no one's listening. At Apex, I aimed to blend in, observe, and gather the smoking gun. I clocked in at the service entrance around 7 a.m., the back door where delivery trucks unloaded and maintenance staff gathered. The real janitors were a mix of hardworking folks, mostly Latinx and Eastern European immigrants, some African-American locals like me, all hustling to make ends meet in a city where the cost of living climbed higher than the Willis Tower. I nodded to a few of them, keeping my Midwestern accent neutral. My cover story was airtight. Tommy Johnson, recently divorced from a 25-year marriage, down on his luck after losing a factory job in Indiana, grateful for any steady paycheck. The building manager, Rico Martinez, a stocky guy in his 40s with a thick mustache and a no-nonsense attitude, handed me my ID badge and a schedule. "Welcome aboard, Tommy. Start with the lobby and work your way up. Executive floors in the afternoons. Those suits make messes like you wouldn't believe. Coffee stains, paper everywhere, and watch out for Harrington. He's the boss man, and he don't like sloppiness." "Got it, Rico. Thanks for the shot," I replied, shaking his hand firmly. Rico seemed like a decent guy, probably a Cubs fan like me. I grabbed my cart, stocked with brooms, trash bags, and disinfectants, and headed in. By 9 a.m., I'd swept the lobby, a grand space with marble floors, modern art sculptures, and a reception desk manned by a perky young woman named Lisa. She smiled politely as I emptied the bins, but her eyes flicked away quickly. Typical. No one wants to chat with the janitor. I took the service elevator up to the 20th floor, where middle-level managers toiled in cubicles. That's when I started my real work. While wiping down desks after hours, or during lunch breaks, I'd scan for discarded documents. People are careless. They print emails, jot notes on Post-its, and toss them without shredding. I pocketed a few expense reports for client entertainment that looked suspiciously like personal vacations. Noon rolled around, and I pushed my cart to the 45th floor, the executive suite. Glass-walled offices lined the perimeter with a central conference room that could seat 20. The views were stunning. Lake Michigan sparkling in the distance, the Chicago River snaking through the city. I kept my head down, emptying trash and polishing doorknobs. That's when I first encountered Bradley Harrington. He was in his mid-40s, tall and athletic, with perfectly coiffed blonde hair and a jawline that screamed privilege. Harvard Business School grad, heir to a minor family fortune, he'd turned Apex into a powerhouse in financial advising, managing billions for hedge funds and corporations. but rumors said he cut corners to get there. He was pacing his office, barking into a Bluetooth headset. "Sell the entire position. I don't care about the market dip. We'll rebound once the merger news hits. Trust me, it's locked in." His voice was confident, almost gleeful. Insider trading? It sure sounded like it. I noted the details in my head, pretending to dust a nearby ficus plant. As he hung up, he swung his door open wide, bumping my cart and spilling his venti Starbucks latte all over the floor, and my boots. Hot coffee soaked through. "Watch where you're going, you idiot," he snapped, finally looking at me. His blue eyes narrowed at my uniform, the name tag reading, "Tommy, Maintenance." "What are you, the cleaning crew? Jesus Christ, can't they hire people who pay attention to their surroundings?" "Sorry about that, sir," I muttered, dropping to one knee to wipe up the mess with a rag. I kept my voice humble, eyes averted, the perfect subservient act. He loomed over me, shaking his head. "Better not let it happen again, or you'll be back on the unemployment line, sweeping gutters instead of my executive floors. Got it?" "Yes, sir. Won't happen again." He laughed, a sharp, dismissive bark that echoed down the hall. "Good. Now get this cleaned up before it stains the carpet. We pay good money for this place." He strode off towards the elevators, leaving me on my knees. His assistant, Sarah, a sharp young woman in her late 20s with dark hair and glasses, hurried over with paper towels. "I'm so sorry. Mr. Harrington's under a lot of stress with the upcoming deals." "No worries, ma'am," I said, standing up. "Part of the job." She gave me a sympathetic smile. Still, he shouldn't talk to people like that. Sarah seemed genuine, one of the few decent ones I'd meet. That first encounter set the tone. Harrington was the archetype of epic corporate arrogance, born with a silver spoon, convinced the world owed him anything. But I pushed down the irritation. This was about the audit, not my ego. Over the next few days, I settled into a rhythm. Mornings in the basement, sorting recyclables and chatting with Rico about the Bears' latest loss. Afternoons on the upper floors, where I'd plant tiny audio bugs in trash cans or under desks. Nothing fancy, just voice-activated recorders synced to an encrypted app on my phone. The SEC had cleared it. We were on solid legal ground. The real treasures came from the shredder bins. Executives thought cross-cut shredders made documents vanish, but they often tossed whole pages without bothering. I reconstructed fragments in my apartment later, memos about creative accounting to boost quarterly reports, expense claims for private jets that weren't business-related, red flags everywhere. Apex was presenting a rosy picture to investors, but underneath, debts were piling up in hidden offshore accounts. But the mockery from Harrington, that escalated fast. He had a habit of holding impromptu pep talks in the executive break room, a sleek space with espresso machines and leather sofas. I'd be restocking paper towels or wiping counters, and he'd spot me like a hawk. "Hey, Janitor Joe, or whatever your name is, you missed a spot over by the fridge. What do they pay you for anyway, standing around looking lost?" His entourage of VPs, yes man in tailored suits, would chuckle obligingly. I'd grin sheepishly, playing the part. "Just doing my best, sir. Sorry about that." One particularly rough afternoon, during a department huddle in the conference room, he took it a step further. I was vacuuming the hallway outside, the hum of the machine masking my presence. Through the glass walls, I saw him gesturing wildly during his presentation on Apex's path to dominance. Then he pointed right at me. "See that guy out there with the vacuum? That's what happens when you don't hustle in this world. Stuck mopping up after winners like us for minimum wage." The room erupted in laughter. A few people looked uncomfortable, but most joined in. Harrington beamed, loving the spotlight. I felt a hot flush of anger rise in my chest. I'd enlisted in the Marines at 18, served 2 tours in the Gulf, came back and put myself through community college, then night school for my accounting degree. I'd built my firm from a one-room office in the suburbs to a team of 20 experts. And this punk was using me as a punchline? I gripped the vacuum handle tighter, forcing a neutral expression. Let him laugh. It would make the reveal sweeter. That night, back in my rented one-bedroom in Wrigleyville, a neighborhood full of Cubs fans and dive bars, I unwound with a beer and my laptop. The apartment was sparse, a fold-out couch, a kitchenette, and stacks of files.
I reviewed the day's hauls. The bugs had captured snippets of conversations, Harrington bragging about beating the system to Vance, the CFO. Those pencil pushers won't find a thing. We've got layers on layers. Besides, who's going to believe some government desk jockey over Bradley Harrington? I held my breath, my phone's recorder app running silently in my pocket. This was gold. Direct admission of hiding assets. As they washed their hands, Harrington caught my reflection in the mirror. Oh, great, the mop monkey's eavesdropping now. He turned, smirking like a schoolyard bully. What, you think you're part of the conversation, buddy? Get back to your bucket. People like you don't belong up here on the executive floors. I stood, wiping my hands on my coveralls. Just finishing up, gentlemen. Sorry to intrude. Harrington's eyes gleamed with malice. Intrude? You don't intrude. You clean up crap.
Remember that. They left, still chuckling. The anger simmered, but I channeled it. That recording was key evidence. Over the next days, I gathered more. Emails printed and discarded, showing kickbacks to regulators, stock trades timed to non-public info. Harrington was insider trading on Apex's pending merger with a Silicon Valley tech firm. Profits in the millions for him and his inner circle. The mockery didn't stop. During a company-wide town hall in the ground floor auditorium, a packed event with 300 employees, Harrington called me on stage out of the blue. I was in the back, emptying a trash can. Everyone, let's give a hand to our newest team member, the guy who keeps this place from looking like a pigsty. The crowd tittered nervously as spotlights hit me. I walked up, playing along. Harrington handed me a plaque, a toilet brush mounted on a piece of wood with Employee of the Month, Waste Management Wizard, scrawled in marker, for outstanding service in the field of sanitation. The room roared with laughter, phones flashing for photos. I waved it like a trophy, forcing a grin. Thanks, boss. Honored. Inside, I was fuming. This wasn't just banter, it was degradation. Sarah slipped me a note later in the hall. I'm so sorry, he's not always like this. The pressure's getting to him. But he was always like this. I saw it in how he treated others, yelling at interns for minor mistakes, making inappropriate comments to female staff, firing a veteran accountant on a whim because he didn't fit the vibe. Atex was a toxic kingdom, with Harrington as the tyrant. To get the final pieces, I needed access to his personal computer. That's where the encrypted files lived. I volunteered for night shifts. Happy to pull extras, Rico. Need the overtime. You're a lifesaver, Tommy. Late Thursday, the building ghostly quiet after 10 p.m., I used my master key to enter Harrington's corner office. The city lights twinkled below, Navy Pier's Ferris wheel spinning in the distance. His desk was cluttered with golf trophies, empty whiskey glasses, and family photos. A wife and 2 kids he rarely mentioned. I booted up his PC, using a keylogger I'd planted earlier to crack the password. Jackpot. Folders labeled private deals, spreadsheets showing manipulated earnings, emails to offshore banks transferring funds. I downloaded everything to a secure thumb drive, pulse racing. This was enough to bury him. Fraud charges, prison time. But as I shut down, the door creaked open. Harrington stood there in gym shorts and a hoodie, holding a duffel bag. He'd come back for forgotten files. His face twisted in shock. What the hell? The janitor? In my office? I stood slowly. Just cleaning, sir. Dusting the desk and emptying the trash. He advanced, eyes blazing. Bullshit, you're snooping. Think you're smart, huh? People like you, bottom feeders, welfare cases, always trying to steal from the top. I'm calling security. You'll be out on your ass, probably arrested for trespassing. Enjoy prison, mop boy. He grabbed my arm, shoving me toward the door. I didn't resist. Fighting would blow my cover prematurely. Security arrived, 2 guards I'd befriended, and escorted me out. Sorry, Tommy. Boss's orders. Outside, in the chilly night air, I smiled. Let him think he'd won. The real show was Monday. The weekend was tense. I holed up in my apartment, finalizing the report. Pages of evidence, timelines, financial breakdowns. Sunday night, my phone buzzed. Sarah texting from a number she'd given me. Mr. Harrington is raging about you. Says you're fired and banned from the building. But something's off.
He seems scared, like he's packing his office. Good, I replied. See you tomorrow, trust me. Monday morning, Apex was abuzz. The official audit team arrived, Elena, my partner, leading a group of suits from my firm and SEC investigators. I pulled up in my Audi, hidden until now, dressed in a charcoal suit, tie knotted perfectly. Rico did a double take at the entrance. Tommy? In what God's name? It's Tom Reynolds, I said with a grin. Forensic auditor. Thanks for the hospitality, Rico. His eyes widened. Holy shit, you were undercover? Yep, let's keep it quiet for now. Up on 45, the boardroom was tense. Harrington at the head, flanked by lawyers, looking smug but sweaty. Gentlemen, ladies, welcome to Apex. We're an open book. Ask away. Elena nodded coolly. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. Before we dive in, I'd like to introduce our lead forensic specialist. He's been on site for weeks gathering preliminary data. The door opened. I stepped in, briefcase in hand. The room fell silent. VPs gasped. Sarah's mouth dropped open. Harrington's face went ashen, then red. You? The goddamn janitor? I smiled, taking a seat. Tom Reynolds, CPA, founder of Reynolds & Associates. Pleasure to formally meet you, Bradley. This is outrageous, he bellowed, slamming the table. This man was trespassing, impersonating staff. I'm calling security. You'll be out on your ass, probably arrested for trespassing. Enjoy prison, mop boy. Elena raised her hand. Mr. Reynolds was fully authorized by the SEC for undercover investigation. His findings are quite illuminating. I launched into the presentation. Slides projected on the screen, scanned documents, audio clips of his bathroom confession, spreadsheets from his computer. We've uncovered systematic fraud, insider trading on the Tech Fusion merger, embezzlement via offshore accounts, falsified earnings reports totaling over $50 million in discrepancies. Mr. Harrington, you personally authorized most of it. The room murmured. Harrington stammered. Lies, fabricated evidence. He's a disgruntled employee I fired for stealing. Disgruntled? I echoed, voice steady. After you mocked me daily, called me mop monkey, handed me a toilet brush in front of your staff. No, Bradley, this isn't personal. It's justice. You underestimated the help, and it cost you. The SEC reps exchanged nods. We'll need your full cooperation, Mr. Harrington, and access to all systems. He lunged across the table toward me, face contorted. You'll pay for this, you low-life janitor. Security restrained him, cuffing his hands as protocol kicked in. As they let him out, he spat curses. The boardroom erupted in chaos, VPs scrambling, lawyers whispering. In the aftermath, Apex imploded. The merger collapsed, stocks tanked 60%, class action lawsuits followed. Harrington faced federal charges, fraud, insider trading, up to 20 years. My firm got accolades. I got anonymous thank yous from employees like Sarah, who took over interim CEO. Driving home that evening, Chicago's lights reflecting off the lake, I reflected. Sometimes the guy with the mop holds the real power, and mocking him, biggest mistake of all.